Here we are.
CJ, we'll get into it later in the pod, but there is some pushback to your cutting out of the filter in. There is some pushback to that.
Yeah, I mean, are we going to bring it up on the pod?
I think it should stay in the filter in. What else is it for? This is the filter in.
No.
For the
filter in combo and the filter in.
Well, I can tell you the hardest stomach YouTube comment of the week is about this. Yeah. So it's coming up.
So I will hold it for that because I do have some good explanation. Don't want to spoil it, but I have some thoughts.
We got some regulars that are not happy.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people coming out of the woodworks to speak up.
Now it's about the woodwork.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Woodworks. What is that?
I have no idea.
Mike?
My guess would be...
Is it like a beaver dam situation? My first thought was like there's like critters.
Termites?
Like critters in the wood and that they're hiding when you're around and then they come on out to surprise you. That'd be my guess, not knowing. But I don't know much.
I think that's my intention for...
Knowing things is overrated, I would say.
I like just saying sounds and hoping that it makes sense.
That's most of it.
Yeah.
It's a good method. Works most of the time.
Oh, man. You know what comes along with the warmer weather? I'm just noticing. That's right. Mosquito bites.
I thought you were going to say cramping.
No, I haven't sweat in 6 months, so I'm not.
Haven't sweat in 6 months.
Not really. Maybe once at PT.
Wow.
Yeah. My physical therapist. So I've turned a bit of a corner on hip recovery. My knee is getting better, and I told my physical therapist my new goal is run by May, and he looked at me today. He goes, "You're going to do that. We can do that."
Let's
go.
Felt
good. So that's the goal. Originally it was March, then I pushed it back to April. I don't want to start before I'm ready because that'll set me back. So May.
I'm doing a race in May. You want to do it with me?
Ooh, how big? How long a race?
50K.
No, dickhead. My brother. Oh man, you should talk when we're in LA.
Spike hasn't sweat for 6 months. He'll do a 50K.
You should talk ultra runs with my brother. He did one in San Francisco that I went out. I'll send you the video from it. It was a 1 mile loop that you run for 24 hours to see who can run the most loops.
Wait, it was a 100-mile?
No, it was 24 hours. It's however
so it wasn't
much
distance. It was just keep going for 24 hours.
Yeah, to see who can run the most.
Yeah, those are intense.
Yeah, he did a couple of ultras.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wish I could have. I would never a good enough runner too. Got to marathon, but never got past that. So.
Hasn't perspired in 6 months, and CJ's dropping a 50K on him.
Just trying to show me up, sweating as much as he fucking can.
Unbelievable.
Man, I moved this up here. There we go. The Race to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS and brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. Body Bio. Get 20% off any Body Bio order with code Mike's Tummy at bodybio.com. And Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka from Stateside, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe and me and Mike. Newsletter comes out tomorrow. Subscribe at rightstorickiesanchez.com/newsletter. On the show today, they never win the Doc Rivers revenge game. Would have been nice. Campaign wanted it badly. Seemed like Maxey wanted it badly. Tobias, I don't know, something or other. But Sixers lose to the Knicks in ugly fashion and then lose in somewhat competitive fashion to the Milwaukee Bucks. Joel Embiid, Ramona Shelburne says he is far away, not even close from returning. Mike O'Connor writes something really great about Doc Rivers' falling reputation. And how do we talk about Tobias Harris for the rest of the season? I did mention Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. It is the best as the weather warms up. Oh my goodness, it is Surfside season. I was in Clearwater last week. Surfside's all over Baycare Ballpark. All over it, of course. And then I was at a WIP event yesterday. It was all over the place in Horsham. And then you'll go to Citizens Bank Park. Why is everybody drinking Surfside? Because it tastes fucking awesome. 100 calories, no carbonation because iced tea doesn't have bubbles, just the right amount of sweetness. Go to statesidevodka.com, go to the RTs section, our teas rather, and try out the iced tea and vodka, the peach tea and vodka, the iced tea lemonade and vodka, all of them. We love our Surfside. You got to be 21. And thank you to our new merch partner, Shibe Vintage Sports. You can get our t-shirts there, but also they are giving away an authentic 96-97 Iverson jersey. The link will be in the description of this pod. We will pull a winner on March 29th. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy whose house we're all going to fly the process just to hang out. The entire 300-person group. That is Mike Levin.
No.
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 No. No.
No.
Here we are.
Yeah. Well, I guess both teams tried hard.
I saw a Newbeck tweet that no moral victories here, and I just can't disagree more. Like, that absolutely is a moral victory. They hadn't broken 80 in a while.
Yeah, that's
true. They took on the road. They took Giannis and the Bucks, a basically full strength Bucks team, to the limit. And I thought that they did a lot of good stuff in that game. That I thought the team and Nick Nurse did a good job of forcing Giannis to have to hit free throws late. That's good pressure on defense to get it out of their good shooters' hands. And he hit his free throws. And if he goes 1 for 4 there, then they have a shot. And he didn't. And if Maxey gets a couple calls, I think that was a toss-up game. And they did that showed me a lot of fight that they didn't have in the next game, and that offensively they haven't had it in a while. It was good to see some shots go in, some balls moved. No fouls were called. Maxey couldn't get a foul for anything. That was pretty rough, but I thought it was a solid game, and I do, as one of history's preeminent moral victory enthusiasts, I will take this one.
I guess I wish I disagreed or even agreed. I have no opinion on it.
They're just not a good team without Joel.
Two things.
They're just not going to be.
Two things on that. First of all, I wanted to bring up, you mentioned the fouls. Did you read the Tom Haberstroh thing on scoring, the 2 things he wrote? On
some of it, and I read the discourse.
Okay.
Which is all that matters.
Oh, well, you can if you subscribe to Tom Haberstroh's Substack, he wrote 2 things. One about a week ago about the scoring being down, and then one yesterday, but all tied to fouling. Like the NBA after the All-Star game started calling things like completely different. The one note that I thought was interesting in there is that February had the 3rd lowest foul rate of all time of any month in NBA history. So they're lying about not changing anything. They said they have. They're just straight up lying.
I don't know. Nobody's going to the basket anymore. Nobody does it. Yeah. They're afraid.
It was funny. The week before the All-Star game, everybody's scoring like 135 points a game. Now it's 79, 75. And they're like, no, nothing's different. But
anyway. and maybe it's a little bit of an overcorrect, but there was...
I like it better. I wish they would just admit to the fact that they changed it. It's better.
Yeah. I don't really... They can lie. That's fine. If they're going to lie about something, this is a fine thing for them to lie about. I don't give a fuck. But there's always been, especially the last 5 years, there's always been the bottom 20% of fouls called were just straight up griffs.
Yes.
They were like such obvious griffs. And they still get bit by some of them. Like Dame lifting his left arm as he's like driving with his right and like acting like he's getting, shot in the neck. Like
Lowry's pretty good at it too.
Oh, for sure. And Embiid does it. Everybody does it. Like it's not just it happened just because it happened tonight. But there was one time that they didn't call that, and they would have called it in the past. So it's just like you can get rid of the obvious bad ones, the obvious that's not basketball refereeing moments, and the games move faster, and it's more fun, and it's good. And I'm glad they're doing it. I don't think it doesn't need to be a referendum on it when the refs have decided, okay, we're no longer going to be the most gullible fucking losers on the planet. We're discerning a little bit. We've learned how to discern.
Yeah, it's mostly my distaste for Adam Silver. Just
that's
like
fair.
Like he's so bad at his job. Like he got rid of one racist 15 years ago. We can move past that. Good job. You got rid of the racist. You can do your job now. But anyway, on to the Sixers. The first thing is I never thought they were going to win, which is why I'm having trouble with the moral victory. I really just always at some point thought the Bucks were just going to win. But the second thing is, I remember I was a bad student in middle school and high school. I got better in college, but bad student in middle school and high school. And sometimes I remember I would actually decide to read the books that were assigned to me. And I would have read 22 or 23 pages, and I would think to myself, I read all the words, yet I don't know anything that I just read. Like I just read the words. Watching Sixers games to me like that is the closest feeling I've ever had. We'll get through a quarter, and I'll be like, I don't know what just happened. I am just in this fucking drone zombie-like state watching this team. The only way that I'm able to recall anything is because I know I'm going to have to talk to an audience of thousands of people. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be able to do it. God bless you. I'm having a real hard time. Like even
I'll start sending you my notes, bud.
Consuming the game. So here are the things that I noticed in the game today. First of all, Kelly Oubre, maybe when Brook Lopez is there, should chill out for a second.
Disagree.
I think he got blocked 5 times tonight. 5 times at the rim. Maxey, obviously it was good to see Maxey heater game.
They only had 4 blocks as a team. Brook only had 2.
I don't believe that. Alex Rucker's in there counting the stats.
That's fine.
Yeah. So it was good to see a Maxey heater game, even though I would say I kind of wanted more from him in the fourth quarter. Maxey.
Yeah, I mean, they just did everything that they could to get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
Like he was playing with incredible confidence, playing really everything. This was a revenge game in like 6 different ways. But playing with really something to prove in front of Doc, which I felt and liked. Mm-hmm. But they really they started blitzing him, they hedged him, they were denying like everything they could do to get the ball out of his hands and making it hard on him, especially with like Giannis and Brook Lopez back. That's a hard thing for Maxey to do, for him to have that, especially when Tobias was straight up deferring everything in the first 3 quarters of the game. But yeah, I thought Maxey was sick the first few quarters. He was pull-ups off the dribble. Beverly's just not quick enough to stick with him.
He wanted it pretty bad, you could tell. Not just Doc, for Beverly too. It was like he looked like he enjoyed that Beverly was on him.
It was great.
As well.
I mean, he was 5 for 5 on threes, except for he missing like a half court before halftime. Like that was awesome. Like he was just feeling it. The crazy scoop finish through like several arms as he was getting fouled, which they didn't call. Floaters from everywhere, like difficult angles to hit those floaters coming off the dribble in different ways. A couple of really nice finishes at the rim where there's just no airspace and he just sort of like barely gets it up there, even with Brook Lopez's long arms there. I thought it was awesome. 30 points on 23 shots. Could have gotten way more. Could have gotten 10 foul shots. It only got 3. I love that game from Maxey. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm happy he's back. He's battling. He's taking it personally. He's not like making excuses or giving up because of it. But the Sixers are just too shorthanded right now to win like games like this, especially if the Bucks are going to shoot 45% from 3 and get to the line 10 more times. Like that's just, they're not going to win these games.
Well, it does seem like they'll shoot better for 3 when they are shooting them and nobody is guarding them, which happened, it seemed like, on half of them. But I guess especially you have to make choices, I guess, against this team.
So that's the thing, difficult. And you can play the double team music if you want to play it. But the reason why the defense is bad lately is such a nothing play. Send the guy in front of you. No help. Too often just stands and watches other guys. No help. We may as well try. No help. Is it going to work? I don't think it's going to work. It didn't work. So I didn't think this was a bad, necessarily across the board, bad defensive effort for the Sixers. I thought like a bunch of guys played Giannis really pretty well, including Tobias, including KJ Martin. I thought was pretty physical on him. I thought they used B-Ball Paul really, really well as the sort of, Giannis on the other end type thing where he was getting in there, getting blocks, getting strips. He had 2 steals and 2 blocks on the night. I really don't know why B-Ball Paul did not finish the game. Having Mo Bamba play seemed like a big mistake.
Mo Bamba,
an unforced error on Nick Nurse's part.
Nice man, Mo Bamba. Thank you for coming on the pod. One of the worst Sixers I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I mean, he just can't do anything in pick and roll. He is just too slow, to react. Like there's no reason to have him in for B-ball at the end. Like Dame has Tobias in ISO late. And B-ball and Bamba is so far away from Brook Lopez. He's so far away. Where it's like if he's at the elbow, ready to help on a Dame drive, and Brook Lopez is truly like 20 feet away. And Bamba's going to need like some sort of carriage to get there in time because he is so fucking slow to get there. And Brook hits his 5th 3 of the night. He was 5 of 10 from deep. He was a plus 23 on the night. Like, Brook Lopez is the best player of all time and has never done anything wrong against the Sixers whatsoever.
It's a problem when they have the best player of all time, and then we may have the worst player of all time on the court at the same time, playing the same
position. Giannis in
37
minutes was a -4, and Brook in 37 was a plus 23. Like, he is just an incredible force on both ends of the court. And when Nick Nurse puts Mo Bamba on him and says, "Hey, make sure he doesn't shoot wide open threes," like, it's not gonna happen unless he stands next to him, unless he like puts himself in his pocket. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And so I hated that. I would have rather gone like KJ Martin there if you wanted like more, quickness, physicality, something. B-Ball Paul, I thought had a great game.
It was a great B-Ball Paul game. He was loving it out there. B-Ball Paul was it felt like fire. He was flying.
Well, let's go back to B-Ball Paul. I want to finish because you played the double team music, so I want to do it. Like,
okay.
It's not just, hey, never double or hey, always double. I just wish, and this happens more in a playoff series when you can really like when coaches are really like focusing the players on this team and go, this guy you can double off, this guy you can't, this guy you have to double onto, this guy you don't. And who is on them? When it's B-ball on anybody, I wouldn't double. I wouldn't send any help. But when it's, Giannis driving against Kyle Lowry, like, yeah, he probably is going to need some physicality in there coming in. And I think it's just how far away they stand and give up those one pass, easy, wide open threes. That's what kills me on a double team. I wouldn't say never double. I just think coaches in the NBA too easily go, well, we can't let this one guy beat us, so let's double from anywhere on the court and allow the easy one pass. And that's what kills me. That's what really kills me. I'm not like a fully anti-doubling. I'm just do it more purposefully. Do it with more consideration of who you're leaving and who you're doubling to and who is there that it does or does not need the help. And so that's what kills me, is when they just make mistakes like that. But I think honestly it's because it's too hard to convey in a regular season game, okay, here are all the rules of when you're supposed to double. They just want to make it simple. Like, okay, Dame has the ball, you send help. Or Giannis has the ball, you send help. And it doesn't, and it's like it's the closest guy. And sometimes the closest guy is leaving Brook Lopez or AJ Green, who was 3 of 7 from deep, or Pat Bev, who was 2 of 3, which is fine. He makes up for it. Like there were guys that you didn't mind shooting those threes tonight, but the Brook Lopez ones, some of them were egregious. And I think it's because Mo Bamba is just like truly one of our slowest human beings, and he's bashful about using his legs and arms.
Such a good person.
Such a nice person.
Great guy. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Love Big Barker. Have a surprise coming from Big Barker very soon. Very soon. We've been doing the process pup patches for a while. They're gorgeous. You should get one. Go to bigbarker.com/Ricky, but have maybe a surprise coming. So at our house, Rebel sleeps on a Big Barker. He is almost 10 years old. He just had a vet appointment. 0 signs of arthritis. 0. That is one of the advantages of the Big Barker, the only dog bed engineered by experts to keep your dog healthy or support your dog's joints. The only one. It's a real bed. You sleep on a real bed. If you didn't sleep on a real bed, you would wake up and you would feel like shit. If you slept 18 hours a day like a dog, you would feel even worse. Your job as a dog owner is to keep your dog healthy, keep your dog happy. Big Barker is the way to do that. Go to bigbarker.com/Ricky. That is bigbarker.com/Ricky. You go there, you see the photos of the bed, but also you get the free Process Pup patches. Put your dog in the Process Pup gallery, official Process Pup. Now we have a second dog staying at the house. We have a foster. We've been doing that a lot lately, and we have a bed for the fosters. So this is Banshee, if you're watching. Banshee on the guest Big Barker. Banshee is terrified of everything except for Rebel and us. She keeps trying to kiss Rebel in the face. He doesn't love it, but she does. Oh, look at that. She does sleep on the Big Barker, and she loves it. If you want to adopt Banshee, if you got some extra time, she needs a little extra time, let me know. Anyway, Big Barker, these claims by Big Barker supported by a study done at Penn Vet. It's all true. Improvement in joint function, lower in pain severity, just like this is the bed that you have to get your dog. There's a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. If you don't like it, if your dog doesn't like it, they will give you a full refund and they will pay for the shipping. Handmade in the U.S. of A. Big Barker dog beds. What's next?
Let's do B-ball because we really should say it.
Yeah, he was great.
I really think he's got a better sense. First of all, in Doc's fucking face, we are in a Paul Reed victory tour. We're going to talk about the Mike O'Connor article that he wrote about Doc later because it was great and just reminded me of so many things I had been upset about deep in my
the quotes,
my subconscious. Yeah,
the quotes just really punch you in the dick.
But I feel like B-ball has a better sense of like when to go and when to pass these days. I just feel like he just seems to be since he got benched. It feels like he has a better like his
instincts.
He's
tall.
I hate when a word is just not there for you, and you're like, I know the word, it's not
named
there.
Paul.
He is like tuned correctly to that. That wasn't the word I was thinking of.
No.
But let's go with that. Of
Sexy.
course, he fucking lost a shoe.
Yeah,
and then stuffs the shit out of Pat Bev in like the same possession. Like what a beautiful thing. Later, he stones Giannis at the rim. He slid his feet well. He matched Giannis's physicality. Giannis eventually got two over him. Like that's what's going to happen. He's one of the best players in the world and super big and strong. But I thought Paul used his hands really well to strip him. I was very impressed with him on the defensive end tonight. And I would love if a reporter asked Nick Nurse why he didn't play late. I thought that was pretty bizarre. He gets a steal in the backcourt. He turns around, finds out he's wide open from three, drains it. That was sick. He's 9 of 15 from three since like basically around the deadline. I mean, he's not shooting too much, but he's like that appropriate, like knowing when not to, when to attack. It was just a really, really nice b-ball game. I don't know what he did to piss Nick Nurse off to only play him 24 minutes.
You mentioned that he knows he's getting a better sense, and this has been the whole year of him just sort of like easing into what they do now. My favorite thing about him in that respect, though, is you can see his instinct is to not do the right thing. You can almost see it happening where he's like,
he's a bad boy.
Yeah, he's like, and I think AU may have written this. There's nothing B-ball Paul likes better than getting the ball with 6 seconds left on the shot clock with just like, sorry, I gotta go to town here. I gotta do moves. I gotta do b-ball Paul stuff. So yeah. I think I give him even more credit because his instinct is to just go fucking ham every time he has the ball, and he doesn't. He's been better on defense, and I think Nurse even said it once, like right after when he did it, he has been aggressive once again on both the offensive and defensive boards, which is important because they don't have much size right now, like outside of Bamba, who's debatably,
Yeah, I mean, he might be like socially 7'4", but he's fiscally 5'8". He doesn't like it. He doesn't want to be. Let's talk about Tobias.
Oh, I don't know what to do with him.
Well, I got it. I know what to do with him.
We have so many calls, so many angry Tobias calls.
Sure.
I have a whole folder full of calls.
So he did come alive a bit in the fourth quarter after he sprained his ankle. Crazy that's like he stayed in the game and he did play well. It was fine, but like it's so funny. Okay, here's a really good excuse to take Tobias out for maybe the phrase "an abundance of caution" could be used.
Yep.
But he stays in because you can't take him out. He's going to play. He only played 28 minutes tonight, which I thought was good because he really was deferring more than I ever saw him. Like I was worried about him getting really like yipsty in a way that the Sixers have seen before.
Yeah,
many guys, we know their names.
Especially when he missed, they put him up there for the tech and he missed it. And I was like, oh no, oh no.
They're like, this will get him going. No, making it worse. Man, every time he reacts on defense or for a loose ball or a rebound or a 50-50 something, like he has to like crow hop into it. He's like crow hopping all over the floor, getting no burst out of anything. No burst whatsoever. The quick twitch is just not there. It's so slow for everything all the time. It is miraculous how he can be. Look, he's admittedly one of the best athletes in the world. And yet, when you're watching him, it doesn't feel that way. It can't be that way. And it's the fact that his body and also his brain don't work very fast. Bamba, a rare time where he had made a nice offensive play, he rolled to a spot under the basket, wide open, and Tobias just like stares at him and just like couldn't get the ball out quick enough and just goes like, we'll get back to you. It's tough, man. Like there wasn't even a mismatch that he was hunting or exposing or anything. He finally hit a three after missing 18 straight, they said. They said 18 straight threes.
He had 3 points in the first half.
3 points in the first half. Again,
all free throws.
I thought that they were going to stop the game after he hit that three. Like sort of like when
like when LeBron scored 40,000.
Yeah, when LeBron broke the 10,000 or 40,000 or whatever. Like somebody stop it. Like here it is. What a miraculous day for Kobe Bryant. Like we got to stop it. Applause. Give him the game ball. He finally hit a fucking shot. Man, and then he hits a prayer three late in the clock with Giannis in his face. Like how does this happen? So
where's Jason Lipschitz in the chat now? Where are you, Jason? Jason, Mr. Tobias always jumps in the chat when Tobias scores more than 18 points. Where are you, you fucking
he really
coward?
Did have a good fourth quarter, which was helpful, and it's so funny that it happened when he sprained his ankle and maybe needed to go back to the locker room. But I wrote down the other day. Do you remember when? This is sad, and this is probably insensitive, but. When Nipsey Hussle died and Russell Westbrook got a 20-20-20 game in honor of Nipsey Hussle?
Yes, I do.
Like, it seemed like Tobias was doing that to honor something we don't know. Like, the stats were so bad that it seemed intentional. It couldn't have been that he's just doing his best. That couldn't have been it. There had to be an ulterior motive. Who are we honoring? Someone.
He honored somebody who died by playing bad.
Somebody. Maybe they had the favorite number was like 0 or 3.
Yeah.
Or like 0 for 8, whatever. But it was tough. So hopefully he gets battled back. We just need him. Look, even to beat reasonably bad teams, they need Tobias to at least be bad Tobias, not like.
This is the worst we've ever seen.
The worst we've ever seen him, Tobias, in which he was for the past couple of games and the first 3 quarters of this game. So hopefully he comes back to normal. I wouldn't mind giving him a game or 2 off. That's pretty rough.
We got this from during the Knick game to 833 Lickface.
Hi, just another disgruntled female calling in from halftime at Madison Square Garden, where Tobias Harris has 0 points. He was an amazing defender when he just sort of waved at the player shooting the ball and just completely destroyed any chance of a run when we were down 7, and now we're down a lot. So just love Tobias. Love being here calling y'all at halftime to talk about this. Go Sixers. Bye. Hello, disgruntled female calling again, leaving the game at Madison Square Garden, and I just feel like I didn't express profusely enough the last time. Absolutely fuck Tobias Harris. I hate him. Nick Nurse needs to bench him. That's all. Okay. Love you guys. Go Sixers.
All right. So
I hate that she felt the need to use the phrase disgruntled female. I hate that for her. I hate that. Why?
She is disgruntled and female.
I know, but just like the female, there's a weirdness to it that I don't like. It makes me saying female instead of like a woman or a girl or something. It's just there's a bizarreness to it that it feels more scientific than it just feels. It makes me gross. Makes me feel
what
gross.
A weird reaction. In any
it
case,
is like these females. Like that's what it feels like.
No one's saying that. She wasn't saying.
No, I wasn't saying she was saying
okay.
that. I wasn't saying she was saying that.
Okay,
I wasn't saying that. But it just it makes me feel weird. I forgot about the fucking Knicks game. Honestly, that left my mind after.
He scored 2 points. He scored 2 points.
Well, the play of the game, and I think Dan Ollinger tweeted it out, but like Tobias just blowing by himself on a contest. I think it was a Jalen Brunson transition 3. He was just running to the corner, not really looking, not getting faked out, just sort of
running
like along for the ride. Taking a month or so to got a crow hop back into it.
Like when you play video game and you're not good at video games and you're in the corner and your guy's just like fucking
there is
NPC.
Sometimes I'm the worst GoldenEye player in the world.
Yeah.
I am horrendous at GoldenEye. And Tobias sometimes, in the worst version of Tobias, he really looks like me fucking chopping into the wall. Just like going into the wall, not being able to turn around, just like chopping left and right.
So here's my like every time I stop doing this, but I would see like previews for games. Like, ooh, look at this new zombie game. I was never good at those games. I would only be able to play the sports games. And I would get the zombie game. My wife and I would bring it home. And, you'd be walking through a dungeon. And then all of a sudden you get to a corner with a door and you're like, where's the key? Well, I don't even know. I see the key on the floor. I don't even know how to pick it up. And we play it for 8 minutes and then return it. In any case, here's my question on Tobias.
Tobias like playing that game for 5 years.
Yes.
All five, the full contract. Playing as long as you could possibly play it.
You have to play it. You're not allowed to stop playing it for 5 years and $180 million.
It's a pretty expensive game, I would say.
I just don't know. Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to yell about Tobias every game. But also, I think I'm going to have a stroke if you do he's just good, man. He knows how to score when he has like 26 one day. I can't let that happen either.
I understand that. And but when I do that, I'm not doing it like it's always going to be great now. Like we just need him to be more serviceable.
He does it. He's losing. He's playing like this on purpose. I do. I think he's playing like this on purpose. I think he wanted to get traded and he's fucking had enough and he's playing like this on purpose.
In a contract year?
Yes. How many contracts do you need when you make $180 million?
Maybe you think he's going to retire? He's going to retire out of protest? Where do you think you want to get traded to?
Is anywhere but here. I don't think
he dislikes it here.
No, I think he fucking honestly hates it here, actually. I think he
might blame the circumstances and stuff, but there's been this is the time he could be doing it. Like, he could do anything he wants.
And yet he's not. He's not out of protest.
So he has to blame himself. I don't think there's it's sort of the Harden thing, right? Obviously in a different situation. And Tobias hasn't complained, so this is speculation. Yeah. Uh-huh. But like if he does, which I don't think he does, it's like Harden wanted to be the system somewhere. He had the ball in his hands the whole time.
Yeah.
Tobias gets to do whatever he wants right now. He just doesn't want to do it, or is incapable of doing it, or is now scared to do it.
I believe. I know this sounds outrageous. I believe Tobias is playing this way on purpose. I think he is done. He's either playing this way on purpose or he got COVID brain again.
You ripped me for a few years for saying COVID brain. Now you're on board with it, and also now you're saying he's intentionally shaving points out of protest.
Tobias Harris.
I think that's worse.
Thank you to Juan in the chat, and I think I was the first person to point this out. But Tobias Harris made nearly $500,000 for today's game. Also against the Knicks, he made almost $500,000 for that game.
Yeah,
too.
I mean that's the contract.
He's losing it. Well, yes, it is the contract, but it is also I don't know. I sort of think I get the idea that maybe he's doing it on purpose. So that's my own. So all right, well. I'm going to have to react viscerally when he plays really bad or does something in the playoffs when he doesn't grab some loose ball. I'm going to try not to. I don't want to do this every single time, but it's been.
I mean, we're at the bottom. We're at rock bottom.
No, you know what's going to happen? They're going to say, we checked the paperwork. There's actually 6 more years on this contract.
Oh my God, the paperwork. I know. A couple more. Oh, sorry. No, good.
Yeah. So I'm curious if you think I'm looking at rights Ricky Sanchez presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm looking at the MLB futures, right? Because we're just a couple weeks away from opening day.
It's tough. I do wish that like March Madness and spring training were not at the same time.
Right. So you could just enjoy spring training.
There should be a 13th month, I think, of the year to give me like this is March. March is March. I become John Rothstein, and then. April is pitchers and catchers. Let's go. Like I would love to feel that, and it feels too much happening at the same time.
Then the World Series would be in December.
Well, like this is the busiest month. March, April,
Yeah.
and then like October are always like the busiest months because it's when the sports all converge on each other at the same time. And I feel like I don't have enough time to do anything else. But let's talk baseball. Here we go.
So I'm looking at MLB futures, and these are odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, who is an official sports betting partner in the NBA. I get that, but we're talking about baseball right now. So in the middle of the Sixers podcast. So Dodgers, unsurprisingly, are favorites to win the World Series at plus 350. Do you have a guess as to where the Phillies are to win the World Series and to win the National League?
As in odds or ranked?
Odds. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
I would say, give me plus 900.
They're plus 1,500.
Okay.
To win the World Series. The Braves are plus 450. Astros plus 800. Yankees plus 1,000. I got news for you. Garrett Cole isn't pitching this year, and Aaron Judge. Like that. The Orioles are plus 1,200. Good team. Rangers obviously won it last year, plus 1,500. So the Phillies are Rangers plus 1,400. So then to win the National League, obviously Dodgers are favored. Braves are at plus 250. Phillies are plus 800.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Division.
The like algorithms don't like the Phillies for whatever reason. They think that. I think. It doesn't make sense to me that Trey Turner with a full year of not whatever he was doing for the first 3 quarters of last year.
No World Baseball Classic right before this one. Plus, is settled.
Yeah, Bryce is fully back.
Mm-hmm.
Schwarber DH the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Pitching is still one of the best staffs in the league. Bullpen is solid. The defense should be better. The Phillies defense should be better than it's been in a really long time. I just can't imagine that they will fall off a cliff.
You're going to win 92 games this year, right? Something like that?
I would love to. I would love 92.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind the Braves being worse and it being a race.
Braves are minus 240 to win the NL East.
Rather than being up like 15 games by like June.
I would love a race. And I care about winning the division. I like winning the division. Division counts. So DraftKings Sportsbook, use promo code RTRS when you sign up. New customers bet $5 and get $150 instantly in bonus bets. As I mentioned, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, or bet futures for baseball. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code RTRS. New customers bet $5 and get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code RTRS. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details.
All right, let me do. Let me rip through the rest of the guys.
Okay.
And then I have something, a new conspiracy that I think you will like.
Okay.
It'll scratch the itch that you haven't found a new fan base to dislike for a while after Denver, and I think I could find one for you.
Okay.
So I thought it was a really good Kyle Lowry game. I like when he hits shots. I like when he takes shots. He had a really cool high arcing fade over Brook Lopez. It was just very like cinematic. Little guy hitting that over a big guy. Had a really beautiful cut with Pat Bev's head turned for a layup, and then obviously some great grifting to get those 3 free throws late to keep it close. I just keep wanting to see him next to Embiid. That's gonna be my answer to all of these guys. That with Embiid, this all makes so much more sense. I do think that Oubre should have taken the ball to the basket more. He stopped doing it. Maybe my most correct analysis that I've ever said on this podcast, and this is based on zero stats, all eye test, is that when Oubre fades, he is shooting maybe 1% from the field. He has to be going at the basket. His body should be nearly vertical or horizontal, and just absolutely beeline for dunk. Don't even think about it. No leaning away. Forward, positive momentum, always.
Last 3 months, how many spot up threes has he made?
Do you have the answer?
No, I think it's 2.
No, he's hit some. He hit some in the next game. He was all right. I love when he misses dunks, dude. I don't give a shit. Keep going. Keep trying.
I'm. This isn't me being an Oubre hater at all, but like notice that he is thriving and doing all this stuff that everybody loves as they lose game after game after game after game.
Well, that's everybody then. You could say that about everybody.
But no, we're not raving about anybody else on the team.
Well, Oubre wasn't that good tonight. I do think he like stopped like putting his head down and getting to the line, any of that stuff. He didn't do it. And maybe that's partially just because Brook Lopez is an impossible mountain to score against. I'm excited to see Kelly back to his other path. I will note, as Dan noted on Twitter, he has, not only is he getting assists, which sometimes you get assists when you're not passing, you just make this like swing pass, whatever, but Kelly is now looking for assists. And I sensed it earlier when he had a taste for distribution. And I do think that there's more of that than he gets credit for when he wants to. Buddy Hield, nice that he hit threes, but he was so invisible outside of that. Played 21 minutes, took 6 shots.
It's a weird vibe for him right now.
Weird vibe. I mean, again, such a guy that will really look different when Embiid's there, but extremely strange Buddy game. Could have used more volume from that. It just couldn't get separation or was deferring. I don't know. That's odd he just hasn't, for a guy that is like, I want to get shots up. These guys seemingly wore out his welcome every place he's been. Is not chucking as much as you would think that a guy that wants to chuck is chucking. Wasn't happening. Batum, he has really missed everything since February. He finally hit one, which was a buzzer beater before the half off the Maxey miss, and a 3 with Giannis in his face, which is obviously the hardest shot he took in weeks. He only makes the hard ones. It's extremely bizarre. He got turned around by ball watching when Connaughton cut before the third. That was annoying. But he always makes the right pass right before the defense can rotate. He's just too smart and too fast with it, and I'm always going to love him. Great campaign game. 12 minutes, 13 points, hitting threes, celebrating to the crowd, pointing at Doc Rivers, snapping to grid, using the glass well, high off the glass. I love that. And I really do. I want to call out KJ Martin again because I thought he played great defense on Giannis. Really great physical hands in one play, stripping Portis and finishing on the other end. I'm ready to say that Mo Bamba should not play a minute on this team. And if you want to start KJ Martin until everybody gets back and just spread him out, go small, and live with it, I'm fine with that. And then B-Ball plays, 28 to 30 minutes off the bench and you cobble together something and get weird. I do not think, as much as it's nice when Mo Bamba hits a 3, I do like it. And when he gets a big block, when his hands are already up,
he would have to hit so many threes
to make up for how many things he just doesn't get to. He doesn't get to it. He's too slow. He's so weak. And so how's it all of it? It's very bizarre. The thing that I noticed in this game, Spike, which broadcast did you watch?
I watched the Sixers broadcast.
Okay, I watched the Bucks broadcast for a change of pace. I like to get a taste of everybody.
Yep, I do that as well.
Could you hear on the Sixers broadcast like loud, sustained chants throughout the game?
No.
Okay.
Do they have so when we went there, they had a paid fan section.
That's what I was asking. So is it either they're pumping in crowd noise and just like pressing a button and doing it, or like paid chanters? Because it was incredibly inorganic. They were chanting stuff all game long and it felt really eerie.
Yet so I remember them when we went there for Fly the Process. Our group, which were loud and not even from there, were very loud, and we were right above the paid fan section, was right below us. And I remember when we were very loud, they turned at us like, "What are you guys doing?" And I was just going to say to them, "We're cheering. We don't have any notes or anything. We're just doing this all on ourselves." They are, no offense, they're horrible fans. No offense. They're horrible.
Well,
fans.
the paid fans, the idea that they think that is good, and not just like an organist, is so odd to me.
It only works. Here's a little thing for any owner who goes to a soccer match and sees the supporter section and goes, "We should have that." It doesn't work. No. It only works for soccer. 100%.
I don't know enough about soccer to say it works or doesn't work. I just find it incredibly bizarre. In time, they're trying to like recreate like a college basketball environment. It's just like so strange. Just find other ways to actually have your fans engaged. And it shouldn't be some like guy on the mic constantly screaming at people or music being played way too loud. It's just like have an interesting team and let it build organically. But this like forcing your hand and be like, "You are fucking loving it, yes!" Like it's just so odd.
Well, remember we had the Revolutionaries at the Sixers games. Do you remember that?
Not really, but
it's horrible.
It's so bad. You can obviously you can have like, cheerleaders and whoever pumping up the crowd during timeouts or whatever, throwing t-shirts in there, throwing hot dogs. That's what I like. But like during the game having like okay, here are the chants. We're going to do this one. It seems just so, it's bad.
They're
it's not what it's
bad
about,
fans.
you guys.
They're losers. Bad fans. Giannis fucking walks every time
He did walk
touches the
so
ball.
much, dude. So much. Obviously, the one was obvious, but so much he walks.
He walks right and runs you over. The guy fucking is the most overrated basketball player I've ever seen in my whole life.
Look, he's an incredible basketball player.
Yes,
and
but it's still overrated somehow.
I just wish that like the Bucks announcers, rightfully so, he's their guy, were being like, man, letting a lot of contacts. Like Giannis is doing all the contact.
Yeah.
And anytime anybody like tries to at least stand him up or be straight about it, then they're like, whoa. It's like, what do you expect them to do? Like, I just want, look, some guys are hard to cover. It's hard to ref that stuff, but you can at least allow, and I think they did for the most part tonight, allow contact from both sides, especially when Giannis is initiating so much. And then when he bounces off somebody and drags his feet 3 times, that's a travel. Call him for a travel. And there were some egregious ones tonight.
45 minutes we did on that fucking loss. Unbelievable.
It was a good loss.
It's not
It was a good loss. And look, Embiid,
Joel, come back.
not there. They are bad.
Without
him.
Please come
That's
back.
all we need.
All right. So Doc Rivers. Mike O'Connor wrote a fantastic post on rightsrickysanchez.com today.
I'm reclining. This is what we do. After I get through the game.
The number one ability is availability, right?
So Mike writes a post, rightsrickysanchez.com. By the way, I would love it. We would love it if you go to rightsrickysanchez.com, hit subscribe. That way, when Mike O'Connor writes something, when Andrew Underberger writes something, when Dan Ollinger writes something, when me or Mike or Zoe write something, you just get emailed to you. So you don't have to search Twitter. Just gets emailed directly to you. So go to
more leg on these podcasts lately. A lot more leg.
rightsrickysanchez.com. I feel like I should take my pants off.
Yeah.
You want me to? Yeah.
No.
Okay. I was ready to. Okay. So anyway, Mike wrote a great thing today, the downfall of Doc Rivers' reputation. And I'll give a clip. I'll read a passage, but essentially it looks at this guy who is generally thought to be, he was voted one of the 15 best coaches of all time, but over the last 3.5 years, has basically become a laughingstock, which is interesting because before he was with the Sixers, he was not that. So this is from Mike. Throughout his first season with the Sixers, Rivers faced very little scrutiny. The team exceeded expectations, had fun vibes, and won a ton of games en route to securing the number 1 seed in the East. It wasn't until the playoffs rolled around that Rivers started drawing attention to himself with the way he talked about Ben Simmons. All year, Rivers had positioned himself as a firm supporter of Simmons. He did encourage him to get to the rim more, but he regularly balked at the idea that he needed to shoot jump shots and generally eschewed any criticism of him as bogus. During the 2021 first-round matchup with the Washington Wizards, Rivers took his Simmons standing to the next level. In a Game 4 loss in which Joel Embiid exited the game in the first quarter with an injury, Simmons failed to lead the team to victory as the Wizards employed a hack-a-bend strategy that resulted in him going 5 of 11 at the free throw line. After the game, Rivers responded to a question about Simmons' subpar play by saying, quote, "You guys keep this Ben Simmons narrative alive, which to me is freaking insane with how good the guy is and all the things he does. And I just don't understand why that's not sinking in our city. If I'm Ben at some point, I'd get tired of it. I just would." And from there, Doc's condescending dickhead attitude within Philadelphia and to the media and to fans continued. Let me read you some quotes here. Some of Doc's greatest hits from his time in Philadelphia. This is after Paul Reed scored 25 points in a game. After everyone begged him, specifically us, for him to play Paul Reed more. "We're not going to go on the Paul Reed victory tour, so don't start. We're trying to win a championship, man." Mike, any memory of that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
How about this? We have a whole coaching staff who, I'm just going to guess, knows a little bit more than you do.
Oh. Remember the ref who said he's an accredited high school referee and asked if I was?
Yes.
Doc and him are good friends.
I don't know that question or the answer to that right now, so I don't know the answer to that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I defended this
Simmons
at the time,
yeah.
and in months later, as it became sort of like solidified into space, I don't think he certainly didn't come to his defense.
No,
but
you don't think he sold him out in that quote?
I don't think Doc or Embiid completely threw Simmons under the bus after the Hawks collapse. I think they could have handled it better for sure. But the idea that they have to, like, part of why it's so annoying hearing you read the Doc quotes from earlier in those playoffs was because he was not like facing reality.
Right.
And we want our athletes and coaches to actually, be somewhat real. And if Doc had said in that moment, like, what a stupid question. Of course he can be this championship best player on a championship team or whatever. Then we would have been like this. How could you say that after this time? He's not even shooting. He didn't shoot the entire fourth quarter. He refused to look at the basket. That would have been annoying. And so I can't crucify Doc for that particular quote because I have to stay true to my values, which are that I think that the narrative around them throwing Simmons under the bus, how could they do that, was extremely overblown, and it's mostly of people that don't actually remember what the quotes were, which weren't that bad.
How about this one? No one gives me credit for getting up against the Pistons in 2003, who won the title. That was an ace seed. I want you to go back and look at that roster. I dare you to go back and look at that roster, and you would say, what a hell of a coaching job. Really.
I love when he tells me what I would say.
How about this one? I don't worry about my job. I do a terrific job. I work my butt off to get this team here. When I first got here, no one picked us to be anywhere.
Nobody. Where were the Sixers? Did they get to the second round a bunch of times and fail? Fuck, they did. What did I do? The same? Fuck. Oh, no.
I like this one. I thought we had opportunities. I don't know what else we could have done.
Yeah.
So then Mike ends it with this. Basically, Mike says that Rivers teams take on his personality, which on some level, Rivers can come in and do what he is doing in Milwaukee and just sort of like simplify things. But he doesn't have like a second act. No. So that the team simplify things, get good. But then when there's a counter move, he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Mike says, but with a leader who so obviously is out for himself, so clearly in search for credit more so than wins, one wonders if that slowly but surely infects the team beneath him as well. And if that day does come where we get to see the Bucks suffer the same sort of lifeless, confused, self-inflicted loss in the playoffs, absolutely no one will wonder why.
Yeah, for sure. I do think Doc became a little bit of a joke in LA. And part of that was because of just the Clippers' reputation being the Clippers. Like, and it was shared with Chris Paul and stuff. But it was definitely solidified in Philly, and certainly in the way that he then left for ESPN, did an obviously horrible job at ESPN, and immediately got a job on under the table consulting for the Bucks, and then stabbed the guy in the back that he was consulting.
Yeah.
I mean, those quotes are insane. Like the idea that you feel the need to do that. You feel like that makes you look good, rather than just saying, hey, I could have done a better job. I could have had our guys better prepared. I should have adjusted more. I should have tried other stuff.
Nope.
Whatever. Like, you can say that. You can sound magnanimous. And then you can fucking have your agent or your friend or your assistant coach leak something. Like an adult. But you sound so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing to say, I do such a good job. I do a great job. Like, you're a professional. You're not just a guy. You're not just a guy on a podcast. You're a professional, like, multi-million-dollar head coach for so long, and you're still doing that. He at a certain level, he has to know that he is
full of shit.
He doesn't have it. Like, he has to know he's full of shit, and that's why he has to keep telling people how good he is. It's embarrassing.
The Rice Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Body Bio. We got a call about Body Bio.
Hey guys, Craig from Lancaster here. Just wanted to call and give a shout out to Body Bio. Finally ordered Eli for the first time after hearing you guys talk about it, and package arrived yesterday evening. I'm going to try it for the first time here live on the podcast, but I am going to just take the shot straight out of the cap. I believe Spike said that he's done this or has begun doing this like an animal. I have no idea what it tastes like. I'm expecting it to be a little rough. So here we go. That is, I can feel the hydration. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I am so hydrated.
BodyBio.com. BodyBio is a supplement company, locally and family owned and operated. We love BodyBio. We love how much that, one of my favorite things about the BodyBio site is not just these supplements, but they explain everything and how it works. So what he mentioned there was Elite, which is the hydration solution right here. It's not just about drinking water. Anyone can drink water. Right? That doesn't make you properly hydrated. What makes you properly hydrated is a combination of water and electrolytes. You don't want to have to drink those sports drinks for electrolytes. Have sugar, artificial flavors, artificial colors. No, Elite, just electrolytes, pure, in a bottle. You take a cap of it, put it in your drink in the morning, put it in your drink in the evening. It keeps you balanced. Your body's like what? 80% water? You need proper hydration. It helps everything. It helps you exercise. It helps it's all fucking connected. Help me with cramping. I had this horrible cramping problem in my calves, in my quads, in my hamstrings, all that kind of stuff. And my feet went away using Elite. Just try it. Go to bodybio.com, bodybio.com. Use code Mike's Tummy for 20% off anything. Not just the first order, anything in the store at any time. Bodybio.com, code Mike's Tummy. Try Elite, try Butyrate, try Calm. Actually, they're sold out of Calm until this summer. But those other ones I mentioned, try liposomal vitamin C, try those. Bodybio.com, code Mike's Tummy. Do you think there's a chance the Bucks win a championship this year, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if Dame's hot and Giannis is healthy and Brook Lopez is... I mean, he should be a Hall of Famer. He's unbelievable. He's so good.
It's just so crazy what a different guy he is and how good he is. I was just watching being like, man, Nets Brook Lopez was like 30 years ago or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Forever.
So the Sixers are going to, per Woj, are going to sign Kai Jones to a 10-day contract. If you want Mike's thoughts on Kai Jones, I mean, we did it last pod. I don't know if you want to give 30 seconds on Kai Jones.
I'm excited. Super athletic, bouncy, switchable, rim runner, an incredibly agile, huge guy that is going to be athletic and stuff. And I'm happy to see him with a 10-day contract, see what he's got. If he fits in, if him and Buddy are a good fit because of the Bahamas situation. He had the makings of a decent jump shot. Why not? 2 roster spots open, give it a shot. I like it.
It's worth a try.
They needed a big, just as an option in case one of those other guys went down. So the fact that they didn't get anybody
or sucks.
They let Kenny Lofton Jr. go.
Yeah,
who got a pretty nice contract with the Jazz.
Yeah. So did what's his fuck?
Darius Baisley. Yeah.
Darius Baisley. Yeah.
But yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing. If he fits in, if he feels like there's development, if he feels coachable, if it feels like he's got his head on right, doing better than he was before in Charlotte, then I like the idea of using those last 2 roster spots as young guy reclamation projects. Take a shot on guys way better than your Paul Millsaps and stuff that are just gonna sit there.
So Ramona Shelburne, who has had an inside line to Joel Embiid for years now, was on some show talking. CJ, do you remember what show this was? I put it in the rundown, but I found the spot. Do you know?
I forget the title of the ESPN show.
Oh, it's on ESPN somewhere. Right. So here is Ramona being asked about Joel Embiid's situation. We thought we were going to get an update last week. We did not. Here is Ramona.
Switching to the other side of the matchup, there are no names bigger than Joel Embiid. What can you tell us about his recovery?
Well, he's not anywhere close right now to coming back, but he is able to get on the court and do some light work here. The hope that they have in Philly is that they can just stay in the mix for Joel Embiid to come back the last week or so of the season, at least where he has a chance to get back some conditioning before the playoffs.
So she doesn't sound quite as optimistic as you did. You were talking about late March, and she's like maybe the last week of the season, which would be the second week of April, right before the playoffs. Mike, I'm going to ask you this almost every pod. Are you still confident that Joel Embiid is coming back?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Sixers currently in the 7th seed.
Yeah.
They've lost 2 in a row. Miami's lost 4 in a row. They're a half game back of the Sixers. Chicago is firmly in 9th by 4.5 games. So the odds of them slipping to 9 are extremely low. I think the Sixers probably think whether it's 6 or 7, they would be happy to do it. I think they feel like if Joel's healthy, they have a chance against anybody, and then they can avoid Boston until the conference finals. I think they would feel pretty decent about that. But yeah, I mean, Orlando, Indiana, Sixers, Miami, and the Knicks as well, since they're not fully healthy yet. They're all going to be just fighting each other for the last spots. But the interesting thing is the Sixers, as we've talked about before, have a really, really easy last 5 or so games of the regular season.
Well, good thing they're just gonna have to go all out the last 5 games of the season.
But it's not a bad okay, warm Joel up type games. Not going to be the intense stuff. I wouldn't mind if they stole another couple, because it could get ugly. We don't want it. They've survived enough so far. They have not. We're pretty deep into Joel's.
Well, this was we thought we would look. They lost 2 games we thought they would.
Yep.
Lose or win, but they also won 2 games we thought they would lose.
Yeah, they got They got the Hornets on Saturday. Could really use that, and then Miami on Monday, which would be a sneaky big game.
Would be a big win.
Yeah.
So this is the hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week. I think our producer CJ will have to jump up for this.
Here we go.
This comes from Jacob. So the context of this is on the YouTube version of the show. We let people filter in for the first 2 minutes, and there's 2 minutes before the podcast where we just sort of dick around. It doesn't appear on Spotify or Apple or any podcast platform, but it is on YouTube. Recently, CJ has decided that while we do the filter in, he has taken it out of the recorded version of the YouTube show. So you can't watch it if you don't watch it live or while we're recording live, right? If somebody gets here late, they can still get to it, right? Just it's after we're done recording. So Jacob says, if CJ gets rid of the filter in from the recording, I will make a billboard asking to fire CJ, and I will make it my life's mission to see that he never works in this country ever again. I will rage at this change. CJ.
I appreciate Jacob's dedication.
He's a regular commenter. He's a good fan.
I didn't say I was going to do this for every pod. I was just testing the feature out to see if it was good or not, because it's been around for a while and it used to be very bad and would take forever to process.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to see. And think about it. Everyone here, if you're listening at this point, if you're watching at this point, you've been following us for a bit. So you get how this works.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a new viewer on YouTube and you don't know anything about the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, you click on a podcast and you open it up, and the first thing is me saying, and here we are.
And neither of us say anything. We're kind of just shooting the shit like we're in an elevator.
Yeah, no one's sticking around for 3 minutes to see what the hell these guys are talking about.
I'm with them. I agree. I think this is really sound logic.
And I don't know. I'm sure people know it as well. We do this live. We are streaming live right now, so that is what the difference is between if you're watching it days later on YouTube. It's not the same sort of experience.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but do you really want to upset the natives like this? Do you maybe want to cut the filter in and make it its own video on YouTube?
The native people of the pod, I don't want to disrespect them. I think people have made their voices more than heard, so the filter in for now will be staying in on YouTube.
Could you take the filter in and put it at the end?
I don't think YouTube is going to enjoy that. I mean, I could do it if we didn't do it live, but
right.
Because it's the streamed version that stays up, that would be difficult. So.
Well, there you go. Your voice has been heard. Who knows what CJ decides to do, though? He might experiment a little bit further.
I like it. CJ, you're in charge here.
He's
flexing.
Do
whatever you want.
He's flexing right now. This came from Cotton, writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. Is it too on brand if we travel to the Clippers' home arena to boo Tobias Harris? I mean, that's where we got him from, right? This is going to be a pretty rough game if the last few weeks are any indication. We might as well have fun doing it. I don't want to go somewhere and boo our own player.
I wouldn't like that.
No. Non-basketball question. Is cheesecake the most disgusting dessert?
No, I like a cheesecake.
Yeah, when I did eat cheesecake, I enjoyed cheesecake. I don't
pop a lactate, have a cheesecake.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with cheesecake.
I used to really like the lemon raspberry cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory. That was my
So I only liked plain cheesecake.
You only liked plain cheesecake?
Yeah, I don't like anything on the cheesecake.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, the thing I don't like is they have to torture animals in factory farms to make cheesecake. But then.
Little serial killer to only have plain cheesecake, I think.
Really?
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe some fresh strawberries or something. But
sure, go crazy, man.
Maybe. 833 lick faces.
I just saw this at the end of the game.
What?
As Pat Bev was dribbling the ball out, he tossed the ball at Nick Nurse. It was kind of like a fuck you.
No,
pretty
great.
good.
Pat Beverly. Eat a dick, man. 833 lick face.
Hey, Spike, Mike, and CJ. It's Connor from Pottstown. Basketball question first. I'm always curious when we're going to get Daryl Morey and like other guests on the pod. So when are we getting Daryl Morey on the pod again? I know you've hinted at it, but are we more importantly, are we going to discuss his being a liar, like persona being attached to him? I'm curious how that has affected him, because whether or not we care or GMs lie all the time, so I'm not exactly too concerned, but the fact that it's now really, really being attached to his kind of public persona, I'm really curious if we're going to talk about that, how he feels about that. Basically, this is my request for that. The second non-basketball question is, I'm curious, are you guys ever going to do the whole advertising thing where anyone can pay a certain amount of money? I think it was raising for charity, and then they can come advertise something on the pod. Thanks, guys. Love listening to the pod. See ya.
That was when we would put like a commercial for an auction or something. Yeah, we'll do that again, I think. So, Mike, you're going to ask Daryl about the liar stuff when he comes on the pod, and where is he? I feel like he's running from us a little bit. I feel like he's hiding.
I don't know.
I feel like you're running. Daryl, hello?
Definitely going to ask him about the liar stuff.
We have to.
But we've talked about it, you and I, plenty of times, about the concern that is becoming a reputation that will affect what players come to Philadelphia.
Yeah. We'll talk to him about it. No fear here. This comes from Dalton. Writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. With Mike always complaining about the refs, does that make him the Luka Doncic of the podcast?
I don't think that I complain about the refs that much, so much as I dislike refs in general so much. I don't say like the refs are the reason we lost this game. That's not, I would say it's rarely, maybe in the past, but I feel like for a while at least, that is not my first thing out the gate. I just want to insult them as much as possible because I do think that they're gullible losers.
So you don't insult them that much, except for that you think they're all bad people and gullible.
No. I do insult them.
Okay.
I do insult them constantly.
Okay.
I don't think I'm a blame the refs guy for a loss situation.
Yeah, I think in general, I actually think I think that's become less and less part of your thing as years have gone on.
Yeah. But again, they are to blame for everything generally, just not for losing the Sixers a particular game by themselves.
And here's the final voicemail to 833 Lickface.
Mike, CJ, Daryl, just finished up the latest pod. I'm kind of baffled at this point. Mike, your feud with Hubie Brown has reached new levels that, frankly, I wasn't ready for. So here's my thought. WrestleMania 40, 3 weeks away. Mike, I think you have to settle your feud with Hubie at WrestleMania 40, grandest stage of them all. Non-basketball question is, what type of match would you, Mike, like to face against Hubie Brown at WrestleMania 40? I don't have a basketball question. Thanks.
Oh, maybe a gentle nudge match.
He crumbles.
His body explodes. Bones fly everywhere, hitting fans in the face. I have nothing against Hubie Brown personally.
This is
he
not
seems
true.
like a
You
lovely man. I just don't think we should be forced to listen to him on national broadcasts while he dies.
Huh.
It's cruel and unusual.
He loves it, though. He wants to die doing the game.
He can watch. I'm not stopping him from watching and talking to his friends. But he certainly doesn't need the money anymore. He's been doing it for a millennium. And there's other people that would have interesting things to say. He has not had an interesting thing to say in, since his
I disagree.
70s?
I disagree. I think
we
he has interesting
need
things to say.
more people who can retire to retire. Retire is good. Retire is cool. There's more to life than just doing job forever. Go to bed.
What if he likes doing the
He
job?
can like it to himself.
Nah.
ESPN, I don't blame him. If he wants to do whatever, ESPN should use some discretion.
I can't believe, honestly, that you are going to take this man's dream away from him.
Yeah, just a young whippersnapper trying to achieve his dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Calling 7 billion games.
Wow.
He's going to live longer than the sun, and he's going to be on the fucking air for as long as time. Unbelievable, man. Just let him.
He's the only
go
national guy that
take a
likes
nap.
B-ball Paul, and you're fucking sending him away. It's unbelievable.
I think that makes me as principled as I am, because I know I love that he likes B-ball Paul. I would just like to hear it like once in a while, not on a 3-hour broadcast when he has to fly around the world calling games, airports, security lines.
What if he needs the money for an experimental medicine? It's keeping him alive.
Then ESPN should pay his pension so he can do whatever he wants to do. But he shouldn't be on the air anymore. For the love of God. Hubie, you're a good man. There's more to life.
I don't know. He seems like this is what he wants out of life. I'm honestly like, you've said a lot of questionable things on this podcast over the years. Most of them about like people dying just of natural causes. This is the one that I think is really gonna. This is the one that I think is a shame.
A shame?
Real shame. Yeah.
That I think 92-year-old people should retire. Shouldn't be on the air anymore. That there's maybe somebody, I don't know, half a century younger that would bring some interesting perspective to the job.
I would rather listen to Hubie Brown than JJ Redick. That's all I'm saying. Right, or Doris Burke, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah. All right. We are back on Sunday. We have a special guest. Eliza Hardy-Jones of War on Drugs will be joining us as her new album is coming out. We had her first before War on Drugs did. And
before the Eagles did.
And before the Eagles did, right. And then next weekend, we will be in Los Angeles. So I think you could still sign up for Fly the Process. Go to RiceyRickySanchez.com/fly. But if you signed up, we will see you out there. Have a few events over the weekend. Of course, we're all going to Mike's house. And then we'll go to the game on Sunday. So
watch a lot of basketball. It's conference tournament time.
Yep.
I'm fired up. Selection Sunday. I love it, man.
Last question.
This is what we live for.
I shouldn't bury this at the end of the pod, but why not? Let's say the Sixers in the play-in. They lose in the play-in. Do we have a lottery party?
They lose in both play-ins.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, we got to think about it.
I got to think about it.
Yeah.
It's a sad question.
Yeah, it's incredibly sad. All right. We'll talk to you next time. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah, like face.